Hi, I'm Jesse, here today to talk about urban sketching. What is urban sketching? It's drawing cities, and it's mostly uh, on site, on location, outside, drawing buildings, drawing parts of the city. And I know a lot about it because I wrote the book, Unknown New York. It's not the book, it's one of many, many. And I didn't include it today in the top 10 because I thought that would be kind of cheating or unfair, but you should check it out. And urban sketching has really blown up in recent years. I lead one of the largest outdoor sketching groups in New York City with over 8,000 members called the Central Park Sketching Meetup. I've been doing that for 17 years, believe it or not, which is great, and I love it. I love drawing the city, I love experiencing the city. And there's a number of books to help you if you're an aspiring artist, if you're trying to get into urban sketching, don't know where to start. There are some how to books in this list, but also some books of just great art by wonderful city sketchers. It's a good mix. You always want to be inspired by other artists. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's count down my top 10 books about urban sketching. So the first one we're starting with here is Sketch Club Urban Watercolor by Phil Dean. And this is a how-to book, and it's one of the better ones. There's a lot of different options to choose from, but I liked this one a lot. I like the style of drawing. I like the instructions. A lot of it is about drawing, even though it's titled watercolor. Only part of it is about watercolor tips specifically. And it's just very, very simple, easy to follow, but has beautiful, beautiful illustrations. And just highly recommended. You can learn a lot from this book as you start off or as you improve as an artist. Next, we have a little book called How to Read Buildings. And this one isn't about city sketching directly, but it's super, super useful as an artist. It just breaks down all sorts of different types of buildings, roofs, vaults, domes, columns, materials, the styles, all the different architecture styles, and is illustrated amazingly with these extremely detailed illustrations, which are just a lot of fun to look at in and of themselves. But it's really important to learn about a lot of this stuff and sort of internalize it so that you can then consciously forget it as you're drawing, but still have it in your brain somewhere. All of that information, it comes out in your art. The next three books are about specific cities. So this one is called Street Level. It's from Dar es Salaam, which is a city in Tanzania. And the artwork is by Sarah Marks. And it's just got this gorgeous city artwork, and as well as a combination of poems and information and descriptions in here, and lots of pictures of people. Drawing people is an important part of urban sketching and is very, very difficult unless you work from photographs. It's tricky to draw people that move, but there's just beautiful, beautiful artwork in here. It's just a highly recommended book. This next one is a sketchbook by Benjamin Pierce called London, It's of London. And this is just some of my favorite art to look at of the city. It's beautiful. It's so simplistic and stripped down. It's such an interesting style with watercolor or with marker. And it's just gorgeous. I mean, just look at it. He takes a lot of scenes that you might not think would make something beautiful, but they turn into something beautiful, and it shows that you can draw anything, especially scenes from the city, scenes of cars and people and subways and all sorts of things, and turn it into beautiful, beautiful art. And this is a great book to get inspiration from. This next book is by Florent Chavot, Tokyo on Foot. And it's very, very cool. The subtitle is Travel in the City's Most Colorful Neighborhoods, and that is true. And the way they've laid this out is just like a sketchbook with these beautiful detailed sketches on some pages, but also funny little labeled things, and then these gorgeous maps It's just really beautiful, and it immerses you in the city where you get a feel of what it's like to be there. And I think that's what a really good sketchbook does. It also serves as a really good source of memory, as a souvenir for yourself as you're drawing, to keep in the future and remember all of the things that you've seen. It's wonderful to use urban sketching to record your memories and be able to share them with others in a way that photographs don't capture. Feelings that you can evoke through art that you can't necessarily through photographs, which are, of course, a form of art, but still. This one's an older book. I've had it for a long time. It's Whistler and His Circle in Venice. So, James McNeill Whistler was a fantastic artist. You probably know him from the painting Whistler's Mother. That was his famous one. But he draws incredibly. The skill he has as a draftsman. So this book compiles sketches and drawings that he did in Venice, and they're some of the most detailed and beautiful drawings I've ever seen in my entire life. Not only that, but there's a section from other artists, which include John Singer Sargent, who's one of my favorites and does incredible, incredible watercolors. But this book also contains my absolute favorite sketch of all time, which is of this piazza here. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I've gotten a lot of inspiration from this book on how to draw and how to capture things in a light way, in an expressive and creative and light and not too precious way. And I think that's important while urban sketching. So it's amazing to see that these classic artists, these well-known, famous museum-level artists, also did all this on-site location sketching and just turned it into such beautiful artwork. This next book is two books called The World of Urban Sketching and The Art of Urban Sketching. And they're one's a sequel to the other. They're basically identical. But it's a compilation of people's artwork from all over the world, divided by city. And just countless people are in this, like hundreds of artists. So it's a great way to get inspiration of all different types of styles. You can see I've sticky tabbed a bunch of pages here in terms of like, oh, I want to try watercolor in that style, or I want to try drawing in that style. It has little bios about the artists and little tips that they share, which is really nice. But really, it's about looking at the art. Some of the art's a little small and hard to see, which is a shame, but it's beautiful. And this one in particular, I really like because it has a piece of artwork from my friend Dana, who comes to my sketch meetups, and it's beautiful. Of course, she does great work, and so that's really really cool to see. And these books are just excellent, big thick books filled with lots of art. Just really nice to look at and get inspired. And then this book I've put similarly in a place on the list because it's very similar to those last two. It's called Sketch City, Tips and Inspiration for Drawing on Location. But I just liked it slightly more, the way it's laid out. It makes the pictures a little bigger. But it's essentially very similar to those other two books as well. And it's just a great place to get inspiration, to see the artwork of these artists. The other books were laid out by city. This is laid out by artists, so you get to see several pieces of work from one artist, which I really like. It's just a wonderful book to flip through. Any of these three could be coffee table books and just stay out there for people to look through. They're just really gorgeous. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you might have heard me mention these books before. I talk about them as much as I can. They're the Louis Vuitton travel books. They're my favorite books that I own. They're the most beautiful book objects that I own. I've got a couple here in a pile, but there's 22 or 25 of them, something like that, that I've collected over the years. They don't put them out that frequently, which is good because they're really expensive and it took me a long time to collect them all. But who knew Louis Vuitton publishes books and does an amazing job? The concept is that in each book, they had a well-known artist go to a city and capture that city with their art. And some of them are these detailed details, watercolors, like this Mexico book, which is one of my favorites. The line art and the watercolors in it are amazing. This book on Venice is gorgeous, um, done by a famous manga artist, and it's just has all this detail. This one sort of tells a little bit of a story. Um, this is one on Rome that's absolutely beautiful. Looks like it could be poster art. It's just really gorgeous and captures all different everyday scenes of the city and everyday locations. Really, each one of them gives you a feel for the city. And then this is one of the more unique ones, Edinburgh. It is done in a very cartoony, sort of simple style, but I love it. It's just really captures the city and still has a whole lot of detail and has little descriptions to give you information about the city and its culture and its background and its history. And that's just really, really cool. Other books have pixel art, have collage art, have pastels, whatever that artist is into. And they're all urban sketching. They're all capturing the feeling of that city or country and doing an amazing job. And these are great collectible books and wonderful to look at and get inspiration from these top-notch artists. And then the top choice for the list, if you can only buy one book, buy this one, is this stack of books. This is the Urban Sketching Handbooks. They're excellent. I couldn't pick just one. If I picked 10, that would be the whole list, and I wanted to highlight the other books. So here they are at number one, this pile of books. Each one has a different theme. They're wonderful. One about panoramas, drawing with a tablet. That's a particular one to pull out because I mostly do my drawing with a tablet now, and I love it. And this is a rare book about that subject. Architecture, techniques for beginners, drawing people, understanding light, documentary drawing. These are wonderful topics, and the books go into all these tips and suggestions and have multiple artists that are featured and lots of information about them. And it's just a wonderful series. They've compiled some of them into the Complete Urban Sketching Companion, which is excerpts from the collection. So this is probably the top book I would recommend if you want to get into urban sketching. You don't know where to start. This is a wonderful companion. That's it. Those are the top books about urban sketching. I hope you are able to get some. I hope you collect them and enjoy them and get to look through them. And most importantly, get to urban sketch. Even if you've never urban sketched before, even if you've never gone out or drawn anything, you should try it. It's wonderful. I get beginners in my group all the time. It's just an amazing experience to capture your feelings and memories of a place. That's it. Thanks so much. Please like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll be back with more books.